Alright guys, today we're going to be looking at a review of the FliteTest Scout, which I flew yesterday. This is Sammy, she'll be joining us today. So I'm flying off of my DX6i, which apparently needs to have a pot replaced on the aileron servo, which I honestly don't really know what that is, but I will figure that out. Here's the aircraft itself without the landing gear and without the engine nacelles, which I left off just because of lack of time. It flew really good when it was dialed in and trimmed out. It is elevator and rudder only. And the piano wire I use to run my servos is way too, it's not strong enough. It's definitely not thick enough. It bends a lot, so I need to rerun that with coffee straws. But the prop is at an angle, so the angle is built into the power pod. I am running the counterclockwise prop on this, so it makes the effects of the offset angle of the power pod really bad. So whenever we would launch it at the field, I would give it full left rudder, and it would get into this weird high alpha thing where there isn't enough airflow going over the actual tail section of the plane to make this effective enough to turn the plane. So it would just kind of get into this thing where it would be in a stall but remain level and then just keep circling. So it ended up, it ended up in the trees a couple times. Actually ended up in a river. And the plane, as simple as it is, this is probably one of my favorite flight test plans because the plans are just so simple. It does have a profile airfoil, so keep that in mind. It's not a full airfoil, but the airfoil is high lift. The plans were so simple and stuff. The durability was just absolutely incredible. I was extremely impressed. There are some problems with it though, things I have to address. Problems with the plans that I had were there isn't great servo access, so the only thing to access your servos is right back here. And there's been a little bit of damage, some of my paper's peeling off, but that can be fixed and stuff. And I've crashed this into the ground hard several times, and the worst damage that I got is probably just this being bent in and chipped in right here. And that's not that bad at all. I'm running a 2280 kV motor from Emax, which is the little drone motors that are quadcopter motors that FliteTest recommends and likes to use on most of their minis. And I started running it on a 2-cell 600 milliamp, I believe, and it ran really good. Once you get out of that weird stall, it flies really good. And recently I've found my I really like to fly with doing a non-bank and yank configuration, so the rudder and elevator is the only two control surfaces that you have on the plane. So I found I've taken a liking to that. I was able to do loops with it. It does have a lot of power, and it has a great glide slope, absolutely incredible glide slope. We were joking around talking about lengthening the wings and making it into a DLG, but that probably won't happen. So if you do build this, I highly suggest you actually glue in your wings. I didn't glue in mine, so they were sliding around and stuff. And I'm just noticing now that there is a little bit of creasing from crashing and stuff on the wings. So put a spar, and if you're not going to put a spar, put a line of glue along there. After this battery ran out, we popped it up to a 3-cell, and it ran even better. A lot more power though, which is to be expected with the 3-cell, and the tendencies are just a lot worse. Where if you get it into a low speed or like if you're just gliding and stuff, and you give it a lot of power really quickly, it's either gonna get into that weird high alpha stall where there isn't enough clean air going over the wings and the back section here to give it direction, or it's going to give you a really good thrust where it's just going to go up and start looping and stuff. Trimming this was extremely hard because of my weird piano wire stuff, which is just, it's really bad. So if you're going to build this, use thicker piano wire than what I did. I don't know what thickness I used, but it's really thin. And one other thing, the elevator on this one, there's no bracing in between both sides of the flap, so it can be a little weak sometimes, but I found that this one is pretty strong, so that was pretty good. I also had very low throws on the elevator, the maximum elevator that we had. Let me plug this in. It was a very low ratio, so I thought we were going to have problems with climbing. This has no problem climbing whatsoever. So we trimmed the tail a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but the tail's been trimmed a little bit. And we did increase the throws. We did end up fixing the tail on the elevator. Yeah, if you see that, that looks like a pot problem because I'm not actually giving any inputs to the transmitter, so that really needs to be fixed really quickly. So if anybody wants to fix that for me, by all means, please do, because I don't know what I'm doing. But no ailerons, and the plane flew great. I really enjoyed it. What time are we at?
6 minutes.
Thank you. Considering putting ailerons on the back here, so running 2 servos to each side and cutting it in the middle so that you have a little bit of roll control, but it's definitely not necessary. And I know a lot of people do end up putting ailerons on this plane. I really like it without them. I think it just gives the plane a very clean look. I really like how this model looks. One interesting thing though is this is an older FliteTest model, but the plans, if you actually print out the plans and stuff, that's trash. They're not like the regular FliteTest plans where everything is like nicely marked and stuff. They're actually just the PDF used to put them into the laser printer to cut them out of the laser printer, so the lines don't always connect and stuff, and there isn't really a lot of direction given from the actual plans. But if you go watch their build video, that's going to give you all the direction you need. That was one of the only complaints I had, was that the plans were a little lacking. I just don't think they've been updated to the normal FliteTest curriculum that they have out. So that was something I noticed that I wasn't really super happy with. And also, the engine nauticals, or nacelles, are way too small, I feel, to be cut out by hand, at least with the curves that are present. They're going to be extremely tricky for the average person to cut them out. If you had a laser cutter, you'd be perfectly fine, but that was another one of the complaints I had with the plans. But besides that, I thought it was extremely simple. It's a really simple plane. There's quite a bit of room on the inside. You can fit a lot, and with the high lift airfoil, you could probably carry quite a few cameras on here. Make sure you put the right prop on, because it gets really funky if you don't. And if you want, I suggest you increase your aileron, the size of the actual, no, not aileron, the size of the actual rudder a little bit, maybe half an inch more. That'd be actually quite a bit, but just to give you a tiny bit more control in the air, I think then it'll fly great. But it balances really good, extremely durable. I was surprised by how durable it actually was, and yeah, I was very happy with it. So for the next review I will be doing, we will be taking a look at the Sportster, which is essentially a mix between the Speedster and I think a little bit of the Old Fogey. And this plane proved to have a lot more problems on it than this one did, but we'll get to that a little later. And yeah, that will wrap up the video. Please like and subscribe, and comment any tips or suggestions you have on making my videos any better. Cool. We're done.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cut that out.
Oh no.
I'm not gonna cut it out.
Please stop.